Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Flash Zellow, Fiction Done Fast, a show where I take my friends' writing prompts and turn them into one-page short stories for your entertainment. And behind me
Hello.
is a sea of books. I don't know if anyone can see. Normally, I'm gonna pick you up and we're doing some bookshelf rearranging today. Somehow, all of these are going to fit on that shelf. All of these are going to fit on that shelf. Right? Right? That's how physics works? Pretty sure that's how physics works. What's nice... Oh, I'm not that tall. So for once, a stack of books isn't mine. Normally this is very much my kind of problem. Oh, I want to show you guys something. Oh, I can't see the chat. Now I can see the chat. Chat to your heart's content. Ugh. Finally got in the mail new masks from Philip DeFranco. No, wrong way. So this side. Don't be stupid, stupid. And it also got this badass hoodie. Says, one day we'll all be skeletons. And they're super cool and super warm and snuggly. And then also a lot of Unis Honest merch is on its way because we cannot resist the siren call of the final live stream. So, here on my live stream, we'll take a moment of silence to remember the Unis Honest that came before and the joy that was brought into the world by those two lovable idiots. Or as Cassie put him, dumb boys?
Dumb boys.
The dumbest. Okay, well, I don't have a lot of time today, so I'm actually going to try and... the minute I say that, I'm like, oh no, my creativity is going to go out the fucking window. Which is open, because even though there's still snow, it is really nice out. Alright. So, let us begin. We're going to read through our prompts and see if anything jumps out at us today. Oh, I need new glasses so bad. An exploration of class warfare and inequality that takes place night at the museum style in a big furniture outlet store between sentient pieces of furniture. No humans allowed. Think Snowpiercer, but in an RC Willy. Three-word prompt. Eggplant, furious, and catastrophe. A Halloween version of a snowman. A scarecrow decked out instead of a snowman with a pumpkin head that comes to life. A virgin lights a black candle and releases 3 trapped witches. A child dies and haunts the house, but nicely. Straight up stealing this one from Tumblr, lol. But a vampire is in an ancient history museum and sees on display a love letter addressed to them from one of their longtime friends, another vampire. They then confront their friend with something along the lines of, God damn it, Clarence, why didn't you say something? C-3PO if he was a vampire. An OBGYN tries to abort the Antichrist, but it's not so easy. A Fantastic Voyage or inner space type scenario, but inside the body of someone being taken over by John Carpenter's The Thing. Tone prompt, write a piece that feels like this, and then it's the song Little Red Bird. Something QAnon related because Satanism. You're hopelessly lost. God damn it, I never say it right. You're hopelessly lost, walking through the woods. It's dark, and no one else is around. Then you see out of the corner of your eye, you see him, Shia LaBeouf. Or maybe a man carrying half of a locket all his life, supposedly destined to find his true love. He goes through hell, adventuring, hunting, intriguing, until he becomes an older man. On a cool day, he finds a nice quiet spot and ponders on his decisions over this locket. And then, I don't know, a dog trots up with the other half as its collar tag. Pumpkin that carves people. Pumpkins that carve people. Instead of a haunted suit of armor that attacks people, it's a group of people that haunt an empty suit of armor. Tremors, but they're gummy bears. Gummy worms. And Kevin Bacon is a gummy bear named Barry Bacon. President finds that he's fired via Twitter. Oh, wait. A man refuses to concede a local election in Canada. The Mounties need to evict him from government property, but they're too nice. Oh, hey, bud. You gotta leave You gotta leave their house now. We got bacon and maple syrup and some Timmy Hortons if you're hungry. If you're hungry. Tell every accent I try to do that isn't Scottish, it just slowly descends into Boston. Boston? I don't know where that went. Down from Southie, you know. Like I'm watching a Mark Wahlberg movie with, Good Will Hunting, you know. You gotta leave their house now. We got bacon and maple syrup. Fuck, I've lost the thread entirely. But I did have an idea. I lost the thread, but I had an idea for a prompt. So we're gonna put that there, and then scroll all the way down. Okay, Halloween version of a snowman. Scarecrow instead of a snowman with a pumpkin head that comes to life. All right. Well then, that turned out not too shabby, I don't think. Again, it's one of those stories I wouldn't mind having a bit more time with. Maybe just to explain kind of a little bit more, but I kind of like that this one, the fantastical element, just is kind of just accepted. Not a lot of reaction. Alright, well, let's read through that and see where we landed. The farm had been quiet since Stu had passed. This year had taken so much from Mabel, and now it took him to 36 years together and now only 36 days apart. She'd been counting. Didn't mean to, just had a head for numbers. Stu never had. Already his presence was beginning to fade from the inside of the house, a fact she diligently ignored as she continued his work around the farm as best she could. Needed a new scarecrow. Old one had suffered at the hands of last winter. Stu had intended to replace it, but there never seemed to be enough time. She took some of his old tattered clothes, things he hadn't worn in years. Not that it would matter. The only thing he'd ever wear again were his Sunday best that they'd buried him in. Even so, she took a moment to inhale his scent, heavy with sweat and dirt and campfire smoke. She outran the tears gathering in the corner of her eyes to dress her new scarecrow with his pumpkin head. The head was temporary, just for Halloween season. She'd never loved it overmuch, but Stu had delighted in the children trick-or-treating. Lastly, she took his old hat and threw it atop the scarecrow's pumpkin head. And that's when it turned to look at her, wide jack-o'-lantern eyes and smiling mouth. Mabel stood her ground. She didn't run, she didn't scream. She'd been raised on these farmlands. You intending to do mischief? The scarecrow stared at her before shaking its head no. Well, that's good. I don't care much for mischief. You can do that over at the Mayberry farm, but not here. Understand? Scarecrow nodded. She sighed and placed her hands on her hips. I don't suppose your Stu come back from the dead? Scarecrow shook its head. She nodded, biting back her dashed hopes. Well, even still, farm's been too quiet since he passed. Hop off that post, and I'll tell you what I'll tell you? I'll show. Oh, will show fit? No, it doesn't. And I'll tell you what work you can do, she said, leading as the scarecrow followed. So, it turned out not too horribly. I think I talked about that yesterday. I didn't want to write a story that was, Scarecrow comes to life and kills everybody. But I wanted to do something. I like the idea of just kind of an older woman on a farm, just kind of carrying on. And I like the idea of the scarecrow. It's kind of being a part of that. Like, I almost feel like, in a weird... She took that so much better than I would have. I wouldn't have even found out if it was a good scarecrow. So, I was kind of imagining two things. One, I was thinking about the Babadook, specifically the ending. So I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But it has this kind of bittersweet ending, I guess. Is one word that I could use to describe it. And then also I was just thinking about my mom. About how my mom would just be like... I mean, if I had a bit more time, I think my mom would just pop off and hit the scarecrow and be like... Ah! But then, like, put it to work. I don't know, I like that idea of, like, an eldritch being or, like, old wood spirit. You know, just being like, alright, well, if you're not here to fuck with my life, you can help me, like, carry some firewood. Oh, that actually is a... There's a short story that Neil Gaiman wrote about a woman who is just content in her life, and she stumbles across a genie. And it's this kind of really... I will spoil it, I suppose, because I don't think it ruins it at all or diminishes the story to kind of know where it's going if you do ever come across it. But writes it in such a way where the genie keeps trying to be like, oh, well, like, you could wish for this, or you could wish for that, or you could wish for this. There must be something missing in your life. And she just kind of goes, no, I'm fine. And as he kind of like tries to get her to, you know, tell him what she wants, what she wishes for, she says, well, you could go rake the leaves, you know. And he's like, you do wish for that? And she goes, no, just if you want something to do with your time. And so he goes and rakes the leaves, and she makes him food, and progressively over, I think, you know, however long the story is, that they end up forming a relationship, and it's just very cute. It's a very sweet story. I really, really like it. I don't know if I got even close to anything like, you know, I don't think I had the time to really explore that with the one page, but maybe if I ever expand on one of these stories, right? Okay, so I have got 40 minutes until I am supposed to be running a D&D game, so we've got one more story to go. Also, this one behind me is not going to be surprised when I say, I'm not prepared, because shut up. Mm-hmm. Shut up, you. Yeah. You're just as bad as the dragon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Little Druid is in the chat right now. But you should probably recognize this voice. This is the voice of one of the Voltaire. Yes, you remember my name. Yes. I didn't. For that one time, it didn't stick. Anyways, this is a character I was working on for Little Druid's Dragon Spire comics. So, you know, look forward to seeing them in chapter 7, I think. The people must hear me speak! Anyways. Actually, I'm gonna take you two, Harper, and I need to do a long-distance game sometime. Yeah, I'm down. There's a game that I think would be really good for us called Fiasco. It's like D&D, but there's no DM, and the whole premise of the game is that the characters are ridiculous, terrible people, and that everything goes wrong. Also, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. I'm going to take the 25 seconds, but Voltaire is this ridiculous character, as you just heard, and in this D&D game, I have a friend who plays an eccentric inventor, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but we've been going back and forth in character voice. For his character's Oswin, my character's Voltaire.
Yes, dear me, how could I ever have forgotten another connoisseur of the explosion types? You know what's funny? There's a lot of that going around recently, and good lord, that's a dragon. You've got, well, it's a pleasure being both you and your indentured servant, I assume, some form of communal relation. I don't judge, I'm just curious. It's an interesting, how do you manage, well, that's a conversation when we're better friends, I suppose. It's a pleasure to have met you, though.
I don't know if you could hear that. It was delightful. Moving on. Straight stealing this one. Fantastic Voyage. Tone prompt. QAnon related. Hopelessly lost. Oh, that's actually Shakespearex. That's his character from the chat. Okay. Similar style logic. Alright, so Lil Druid, you also have to now put in the character of Oswin as well, and then it's a crossover between your stories and my stories. And then eventually this will just be my story. I am slowly taking over your story. No, I'm not. Don't listen to me. I already have too much on my plate. Okay, Okay. No. All right, fine. I'll take over your story. I don't know where I'm gonna fit it between the D&D campaign and editing the book and working on the series and trying to do this stream. I guess I can do your webcomic as well. I suppose. Did I just go into Voltaire's voice by accident? Oh no. I am doing all the things. Voltaire is you. I mean, I knew that. You is Voltaire. I accept it. I mean, he's got a fascination with dinosaurs. He's friends with a dragon that he may or may not have pooped on because he was partying too hard. And he also got arrested at a festival for screaming about leftist politics while pretending to be an actor. So, I mean, I really don't know where the there really is no line between the two of us. Okay, okay. Okay. Don't mind me. I'm trying to think of a name. I'm trying to think of a name for the character. In this case, though, I do have something. Aldemar. Shame, that's his name. okay?
Yeah.
Something fall?
Yeah.
Good. Alright. Hey guys, welcome back. Gonna kind of settle our way back in and see how this little story turned out. So, it's a bit of a longer prompt, or at least there was a lot in it. Not super long, but let's just jump into it, because I don't have a lot of time left. I am supposed to be starting a D&D campaign that I have not prepared for in 15 minutes. So, let's just jump right into it. Long ago, a young man with blonde hair and blue eyes sat before a fortune teller. He dreamed of adventure and riches and glory. There had never been another path for the young Aldemar. The small town that gave birth to him could not contain him. Marriage could not contain him. Even the few jails he'd found himself an honored guest of could not contain him. There was too much world left to see. The fortune teller did not care for any of his exploits. She handed him half of a locket and said simply, "Carry this. You are destined to find your true love." Of course, young and full of grand ideas, Aldemar scoffed. He had no need of love. All he needed was a sword on his hip and the horizon ahead of him. And for years he convinced himself it was true. Years that took much from him. He adventured for a time, hunted, enlisted in war after war, committed heinous acts in the name of glory and king. So many years passed he no longer recognized his face in the mirror. It was old, sad, and hard cut with deep lines. He ran his hands through his hair, thinner now, shot through with more white than gray. It was a cool day to sit in a quiet spot and enjoy the quiet. Except for the sneezing woman off to the side. Hello! Okay. Okay, it was a cool day to sit in a secluded spot and enjoy the quiet, to enjoy the peace, to stare at his locket. Even after all these years, he'd held on to it, like the fortune teller had told him. Oh, Scholar Fury says bless you.
Thank you.
She says thank you. She'd been a charlatan like the rest, he thought, spinning the locket between his calloused fingers. Still, after so many decades, he couldn't bear to part with it. Still, if he had a regret. That's when he noticed the dog wander out from the woods. "Hello," Aldemar said, as his new four-legged friend trotted up without fear. He was a scruffy mutt, but Aldemar didn't judge, patting the dog behind the ears. "And what's your name?" he asked. Then he saw it, dangling from the mutt's collar, the other half to his locket. "Oi, where'd you get off to, you mangy mongrel?" came a woman's voice from the trees. Aldemar stood up as she entered the clearing. He met her gaze. She was older, surprised, and wary. He held his breath and held out the locket to her, daring to hope. Alright. I feel like the last call. Aww. Good. I'm glad I got an aw. I'm glad you liked it. Feel like good. I'm glad I got an aw and a cute. These were the stories that had to happen post Unis Honest and mourning that loss. All right. Oh, I forgot to move those over to the blog, but I think you guys know the drill by now. I'm gonna do that after the stream. Since I don't have a lot of time, I'm just gonna end it there. This is gonna be one of shorter sessions, I suppose. I don't know how much time the original screen was up. So, alrighty then. Oh, we got a pretty lady, pretty lady the cat, trotting. I don't know if you can see her trotting across the road. She's just passing the sign, and you can just barely make her out. But that's pretty lady. We think she's probably an older cat. Alright. Fairly well, fellow travelers. That is all I have to say. That's all I have to write. And if Totes the Zombie is still floating around, no heroes on 2020. Alright. Love you guys. Bye.